Welcome to Women in the Arts, the podcast that shines a light on those great women who participated in changing the world through culture.
Sweetheart, let's sit down and talk.
Gender.
Boys can do anything they want.
I'm Judy Chicago, and I'm an artist and a troublemaker.
Feminism.
I was always interested in drawing
Art.
We have found the witch!
The witch.
Witches.
A world in which I could wear whatever I want, say whatever I
It's
want.
important to connect feminist art with fashion.
Mode. Equality.
Women in the Arts.
Charline and I are both students on the master's degree in cultural project management at UCA, and today we wanted to discuss a little bit more about witches. Dreaded, loved, feared, and powerful women figures. Those women have taken a huge places in pop culture. Disclaimer though, we have however to mention something to you. Our knowledge of witches is based upon where we grew up and what we saw on TV. A lot of countries have folklore with witches or fairies in it, which we know nothing about. Our vision is one of the Americanized pop culture and our history with the witch hunt during the Renaissance.
Yes, exactly. And like you know, witches have quite a place on our pop culture, from movies to TV shows and cartoons. And I know that we both grew up with many examples such as Charmed, and for me, with the Disney movies. And I think you told me that Sabrina the Teenage Witch was also
Yes.
in your childhood. And witch figures have marked each generation, from the East Witch of the Wonderful Wizard of Oz to Maleficent in Sleeping Beauty. However, they have not always been depicted in the same way. Their evolution has also followed how women have empowered themselves through feminist movements and social progress, such as the pill or the divorce. Can you guess how witches were represented, Lisa?
Oh, well, I think Perfect Housewife, but you're going to tell me more about that.
Yes, I think you probably are thinking about Bewitched,
Yes.
an American TV show broadcasted between 1964 and 1972, showing Samantha, a witch who married a mortal, Darren, who vowed to become a suburban housewife.
Wow.
I
Dream
guess-
life.
Yes. And we were in the 60s, and women have the right to vote since only a few years. If I can remind, the UK, the women had the right to vote only since 1928, and in France it was since 1944. And not everywhere in Europe or in the world women had that right. This TV show placed a woman in a traditional role, as a wife or the mother. Therefore, a woman dedicated to her husband and family. She is caring, kind, sweet, beautiful, adjectives which were attributed to women. What do you think about that?
Well, it's a very stereotype way of seeing women and patriarchal way of seeing women. So, don't really like it, but I guess you have another example for me.
Yes, like you said, and the representation we have of women or witches has evolved following transformation in society. Today we can witness that talking about the chilling adventures of Sabrina, a 16-year-old girl, half witch, half human, dealing with evil and good. Her coven, the group of witches she belongs to the Dark Lord's Church, Lucifer, whose system and hierarchy are highly patriarchal. However, she is strong. She fights for what she believes in. She is able to solve her own problem, which causes a problem for the church, because you see, she does not fit in. She's a rebel. We can also note a sense of sorority, which I really liked during watching the show, between her friends and her family. She drives them to be who they are and pushes them to wonder about the system they live in. Besides, I found this TV show quite inclusive. There are various origins represented, and there is also a trans character. However, I won't go on too much, otherwise I may spoil you the series. Have you ever watched it, by the way?
No, I haven't, but you've made a very compelling story for me to start in watching it, and I promise I will make you my own commentary about the series when I will finish it.
Well, I hope you will. And you were going to talk about the stereotypes, were you?
Yeah, I was, actually. Do you know what witches in pop culture have in common?
Well, from what I can remember of my Disney's movie, they are quite ugly, are they?
Yes. Actually, witches have a lot in common, but we have to first differentiate the good from the bad witch. Indeed, in a very Manichaean universe, the movies and series show some different characteristic, whether the witch is a personification of evil or an angel straight from heaven. Bad witches are perceived like ugly people. They have horn, they have hunched back, big hairy nose, like in all the Disney movies, including a witch as a villain. Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, The Little Mermaid. I was terrified by The Little Mermaid. They all are exhibiting the same trait. But if you're facing a good witch, a fairy of some sort, the character is opposed to the bad witch. A beautiful, nice and attractive woman like Bewitched or even Charmed. Two American TV series which portray nice women helping other and using magic for good. We could also mention Kiki's Delivery Service.
But isn't that a Miyazaki studio movie? And it's Japanese.
Yes, indeed. So, as we said earlier, we don't have a lot of examples that are not American example because our cultures come from the American culture. But we do have some example outside of our little American bubble with the Miyazaki and his movie, which features a 13 years old girl helping other with her magic powers. This film is also interesting for us because it was made in Japan, which shows that witches are popular there. Even though witches are shown differently depending on their good or bad status, we're often faced with the same content. They all share some common traits. The broom, for example, is such an important part of the decorum for the witches. From Harry Potter to Sabrina the Teenage Witch, it's always there. The potion, the use of plants to create concoction, is also known to be a witch trait. And of course, they often have cat. A black one is preferred.
Why do you think I have one? But do you know where these stereotypes come from?
Well, there are many theories. We could argue that those stereotypes were created because of the witch hunt during the Renaissance. And there was a book called Malleus Maleficarum, which depicted an image of how the witch should look like and how you can spot one. So, for me, it's just a theory, but I think those stereotypes come from this book. But we can't discuss them all. We are running out of time.
Oh, unfortunately, yeah. And as a final word for our witchy podcast, it seems that the witches have become an empowered character, a strong figure taken by the feminists of the 70s with their motto, "We are the granddaughter of the witches you couldn't burn." There we are referring to the first women who were called witches, and for that I invite you, dear listener, to read the dedicated article on our blog, womeninthearts-uca.blogspot.com. Well, see you soon for the next episode, and by then, let's imagine equality through culture together. Bye-bye!
Bye!